week 8. I'll do what I always do. I'll start by telling you how much weight I lost last week. I only lost £1. Not bothered. I'm losing weight and I'm starting to feel better. I'm also starting to see some of the no scales victories. As you saw last week, there was a t-shirt that's fitting me slightly better. Don't know what I'm going to do when it actually fits, because I don't actually like that t-shirt. It just happened to be the one I had on when I took the fat me photograph. But I noticed this week at work, I was running up the stairs rather than pulling myself up on the banister. Silly little things. I haven't run up the stairs for a while. I still haven't quite lost 2 stone since I started this, but you know, you're talking, okay, this is week 8, but it is only actually 7 weeks, complete weeks of trying. I'm chuffed with that, and it's steady and sustainable. Right, this week I've actually had someone contact me via email. I'm not sure if you remember last week I put up all my various contact details. I'll run that again at the end. And I'm not going to name the person, but if you're watching this and you emailed me last week, it's you. She was saying that although she's getting what I'm talking about, and essentially she's rumbled me, it is just calorie counting. But you know, I prefer to call it tracking because of all the connotation of the people who tried to do calorie counting before. And she was saying that a lot of people are telling her she should try something like Slimming World. Well, I've been there, done that, and yes, it does work. There's no getting away from it. It does work. However, maybe I'm just a bit cynical, but you've got to look at what they're looking for. Are they looking to fix you up in 3 or 4 months and then send you on your way lighter and never see you again? They charge, I've just checked online now, $5.95 a week. Now, my issue with this is that they tell you there's certain foods you can eat unlimited of. And technically they're right. And if you only eat those sort of foods, you will lose weight for a short period. And the one thing I remember is that when you start to plateau and level out, the Slimming World consultant will ask you to keep a food diary. Let's be honest, what's the difference between a food diary and tracking? She's going to take it away, or he, and have a look and say, yes, you're eating too much of this. And she's not going to talk about the calories because they don't. But you will find the food she's telling you to take out are the ones that are high in calories. Now, it's a lot more scientific to just track the calories. Plus, when you're tracking your calories, you're taking control and you're not paying someone £6 a week. If you went every week, it's over 300 quid a year. You do a lot with 300 quid. You buy a small holiday, you know, there's a lot you could do with it. Now, the other advantage with tracking is that it's actually, you're learning what fills you up, how many calories it is, and what constitutes a decent lunch. It's becoming habit for me. Now, my habit, as I've told you many times before, is I have porridge for breakfast, I have something round about 300 calories for lunch. That gets me home on 500, gives me anything from 700 upwards, and still hit my target. Now, bear in mind, my target is different to my limit. My limit, according to MyFitnessPal, is 1900. My target is 12. I land somewhere in the middle. And another thing you need to be aware of, sometimes when you submit your thing to MyFitnessPal, it'll tell you haven't eaten enough. And it did that to me one day. And that particular day was Saturday this week. It told me that I'd only had 1,046 calories. Now, that does sound light, and it probably is too light. You probably shouldn't try and have that much every day. But let's just talk through what I had that day. I actually had a porridge for breakfast. I had my homemade pasta with mushy pea curry sauce. It sounds gross, but I actually really liked it. For my lunch, and that evening I had a seared steak. Cue the picture should be about there. Now, on reflection, it probably was a bit light, but I didn't stress it. And when FitnessPal tells you to eat a bit more, if it's the only time you've done it that week, take a shot. Okay, it's not going to guess at your weight in 5 weeks' time. It did yesterday, and it will tomorrow. And I knew the next day I was going out with my eldest. We were going to a gallery. I knew we would eat out at least once. It was a good day, by the way. We went to the Barber Institute in Birmingham. The eldest is an art student, and I really liked it. It was very much, I don't know if any of you have been to the National Gallery. It was laid out a very similar way, but not as much of it. So you had time to blast around it. In an hour you'd done everything. There were some big names there. There was a Van Gogh, a few other bits and bobs. It's just on the outskirts of Birmingham. If you're in the area, it's worth a look. And then we came back to Chinatown and we had a damn good lunch. Another picture. It was, I had to guess at the calories on that, but you know, I knew I had a few in the bank because of the day before being a bit light. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Ended up in the Asian supermarket, bought some Asian cookware and some spices. And I'm going to go on to show you how I managed to make 2 different meals using steak that weren't your basic steak and chips. And the first one was a seared steak that I showed you earlier. That comes from a recipe from Simply Cook. I didn't use the kit, I made it up myself, so I used Cajun spices on the outside of the steak, rapid fried some asparagus at the last minute, served it with some rice, and you can see from the picture it looked and tasted lovely. I really like my steak rare. Now, a lot of people don't like a rare steak because they can't cook it. And the way I do it is I sear it for 2 or 3 minutes each side. And then I wrap it in foil and let it stand for a good 8-9 minutes. Now it's hot, it's going to carry on cooking, so what you'll get is you'll get that pink finish with no juices running out by this point. Slices lovely, melts in the mouth. The reason I had steak 2 nights running was that Aldi had 30% off on a steak. Now to me, a steak is at its best on its best before day. So the following night, once I got my Asian bowl for serving and my Asian herbs and my chopsticks, I did something very similar, but instead I served it over udon noodles. And you can see from the pictures, 2 very different recipes, both came in at under 600 calories, and to me, they were both a filling evening meal. Right, so that's the end of another broadcast. God, I sound like a TV presenter. Yeah, someone once said to me, why are you doing this at night? I said, well, I got sick of watching rubbish telly, so I thought I'd go home and make some rubbish telly. So that week was, you know, as you can see, I've had a life, I've been out, I've been eating out. So I added up the calorie deficit. The deficit is the difference between the limit set by MyFitnessPal and my actual target. Their limit is 1900, my target is somewhere above 1200. So my deficit for the week was 3,458. So again, I've come under by about 700 calorie a day average, which is huge. It should equate to a weight loss next week.